Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Sunday morning here in the Pacific. Welcome back to Lotta's Astrolotta family. I am Teri Hunter. I am an angel therapy practitioner. And what I do every week is get the angels' perspective and advice on the transits that are coming up for this coming week. So I want to welcome everybody to my live stream here. I want to give people a little bit of a chance. Oh, good to see everybody. I started a little bit early today. I think it's a really powerful week. Good morning, Juan. Happy 4th of July for everybody in the United States. It's actually a very astrologically, it's a major T-square today between Uranus, Saturn, and Mars. So it will be interesting to see how things play out here today. Hopefully everybody will be able to keep their cool, calm, and collective. Good morning, Raji. Good morning, Resident Valkyrie. Good morning, CJLM, Katerina, Nikki. Happy 4th. Happy Sunday. While this T-square is very interesting, I kind of want to focus in on some other dynamics today. Let me see if I can get a little more light here. It's so super foggy and has been here for all of May and June and now into July. So just letting you know it's kind of that way. Good morning, Stephen. Happy 4th of July. Okay, so the main things that I think are of interest today, and not just of interest, but are extremely influential, playing to the themes of 2021, which is the Uranus-Saturn square. So I have been talking to Spirit a lot about Uranus and Saturn ruling Aquarius. It just seems so weird to me. So I started to ask Spirit, why would that be? How does that work together? And then I started getting these images of the moon, funny, and the moon ruling our emotions. And then I started to feel this wave of almost like a sadness and then an uplift at the same time. It was like this sort of, it was a wave. And I felt like Spirit was showing me that my thoughts manifest, yes, but my thoughts are really the manifestation of my beliefs, and my beliefs are dictated by emotions. And so where I'm going with all of this is that this week on the 9th, we have a new moon in Cancer. Cancer rules our emotions. It rules how we nurture. It rules our property. It rules our home. And all of these things, without really thinking about it, are the platform with which we manifest everything else. Imagine you get up in the morning and you have an argument with someone in your house. That sets the tone for how you feel. That may make you feel cranky. And then you go out into the world and you don't just drop that emotion. So this is where I'm going with all of this. We have this new moon in Cancer. We have Venus in Leo coming up on the 8th, opposing Saturn in Aquarius. And I felt like Saturn, I literally meditated on the planet and asked Saturn, what do you want me to know? And Saturn was like, if I co-rule the 11th house, that's more than just networks. It's more than just your internet and your social media. It's your hopes and your dreams. And it's a money house. So Saturn's saying, how much can you really think futuristically into what you want? It was like all of a sudden this huge coagulation of these two what appear to be opposing planets not feeling opposing at all to me, but rather working in cooperation. Saturn saying, yeah, I'm asking you on some level to work hard, to be stoic in being able to watch your emotions ebb and flow as your dreams and desires, go through this journey of manifestation, which requires a challenge, because it's through the challenge, it's through the fear, it's through the trepidation that you actually feel the empowerment and the trust of what you're manifesting. So Here we go. We have, I know we've just got this T-square today, and I talked about that last week, but what I want to focus in on is here in the Pacific on the 6th and the 7th, we've got Mercury squaring Neptune. Let's take Neptune at its spiritual dynamic and Mercury representing our thoughts. So what are we doing in the way of blocking the spiritual dynamic, the square, that enables our thoughts to align to a deeper truth of what we want to manifest? Humans have been conditioned for thousands of years to feel disempowered. It's just, I don't even know how it happened. I don't know when it started, but we're rewriting that right now. So because Mercury, the square between Mercury and Neptune is as Mercury leaves the shadow period, which it's doing like today or tomorrow, and then it's going direct again. We're allowing ourselves to have clarity on what are my thoughts. And my thoughts, if I really look at it, being based on my emotions, maybe I could be more nurturing to those emotions. I could be more gentle with those emotions instead of beating them over the head, realizing that, we are conditioned on some level to be cooperative, to be people pleasing, to be kind to others, which is all great. But what we aren't really trained is to be kind to ourselves, to be nurturing to ourselves. So as we look at how our thoughts maybe aren't necessarily aligned to a deeper spiritual truth of ourselves, Mercury square Neptune for the 4th time really representing the square, the 4 sides that create the foundation. Now, as we go into the 8th, this is all a few days before the new moon, Venus in Leo, which is awesome, is going to be opposing Saturn, which is still squaring Uranus. So how are we taking care of ourselves? Where is your self-esteem? Let's not look at your money right now. Let's not look at your possessions. But in order to truly feel Venusian, to feel sexy, to feel viable, this is in opposition. Saturn is not trying to dumb it down at this point. I think Saturn's saying, how authentic are you? Do you believe in your beauty from beyond a superficial dynamic? Do you believe in your beauty? Do you believe in your value? Do you believe in your self-worth from something that comes from Neptune? And Neptune and Mercury giving you this opportunity to get clear on your thoughts while they're in this conversation. Because Mercury may argue for its everyday experience. Mercury rules our everyday experiences. So it's going to say to Neptune, you're talking conceptually. Mercury's going to say, look at what's happened today. Look at what's happening. See it? And Neptune is going to say, but if you believe it, you're going to see a new experience and kick in the Hermetic laws of attraction and allowing. So now, as you give yourself this sort of gentility during this dynamic, how much do I really believe in my value? And then we go into the new moon in Cancer, which to me is really, really powerful because we have the ruler of Cancer going into the dark space of new creation, of the seedlings of new thought. And the new thought being, what if my emotional body is truly the impetus of my manifestation? And what if rather than trying to push through something, oftentimes people say Saturn doesn't care how you feel, just get it done. But what if Saturn is saying, maybe you should care about how you feel? And rather than giving up, you see the balance between rest and rejuvenation and recalibration in moving forward. And all this is happening around Independence Day here in the United States. So what if we are being asked to give ourselves the opportunity to revolutionize ourselves, this is the kind of where I'm getting a little bit caught up and I'm having a moment in my head, because it's not about giving into the lower emotions. It's about not about getting in your bed and feeling depressed and covering your head. It feels more like it's about validating those emotions. You have a right to feel that way. You do. You have a right to feel whatever it is you want to feel. But are you going to let it stop you? That's what Saturn's saying. Are you going to let because if you really peel back how you feel, there's a very good possibility it is in relation to how somebody else is feeling about you, or how somebody else is assessing who and what you are and how you move forward in the world. So this is where I'm going with all of this. I think this is a really powerful week. And I know we say that every single week, but these few years feel so akin to me to a vibrational jump to a new platform. And that doesn't happen overnight. It happens through a process of gestation, through a process of kind of this, the butterfly, the things we revere and we look at as totems of transformation are also energies that go through tremendous upheaval before that transformation is birthed. So that's what I want to talk about. I want you to be focusing in on how do you nurture yourself this week? How do you allow yourself the process of your own evolution? Do you expect so much of yourself that once you receive a communication or a concept that you just think, oh, now I need to be great at it, or I need to be perfect? I think there's something about this week that through the opposition of Venus and Saturn, we're being asked, how do you nurture yourself? How do you give yourself permission to be in the human experience? Because the human experience is meant to be under the veil. There is a wisdom to the challenges that we walk through. And the wisdom is that it's where that excitement, that achievement, that empowerment, that I can do anything. When I see myself walk through something that felt like I couldn't do it. That's where I'm going with all of this. So when we look at all of these things, because ultimately what is Saturn saying? Can you do it? Can you do if you've done it well? So anyway, that's where I'm going. I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Brian. Hi, Dreaming with Tess. Karma Police James. 145 Club. I said hi to Steven. Okay. So this is what I want you guys, as you're walking through this new moon, this opportunity for this cycle, because these, there's cycles within cycles within cycles, and this particular new moon will be a cycle as we hit the full moon in Cancer. I didn't get a chance to look that up. Hi, Chan. Great to see you. Welcome. Channel Oro, welcome. So nurture yourself this week, and not in a, go deep. When you're thinking about how do you nurture yourself, go deep in that. It's not just about actions I take, but my willingness to think things about myself. And I want to offer this too, because I noticed in my own personal birth chart that my moon in Taurus, and this is what I want you guys, this is where I'm kind of going with this. This week, I want you to pay attention to what the angels have to say for your moon sign. And hopefully you know that. If not, you can go to Lotta's channel and plug in your birth information and find out where that is. Because I think if you, on this new moon, pay attention to where your moon sign is and what house it's in, and then how do the dynamics of this week astrologically play out in your emotional body. I think the new moon is at 18 degrees. I didn't write that down, but I'm pretty sure it's at 18 degrees. Someone could check that for me. But in any case, the reason I say that is because as you pay attention to this idea of not going from your mind to your heart, but from your heart to your mind. Heart being the moon, mind being what Mercury represents. Because I think this is an opportunity for you to be gentle with how you've been conditioned to think, because each one of us, depending on our ethnicity, our location on the planet, our cultural background and communities, are going to have certain beliefs and dynamics attached to that. And Brian, I want to offer this way. Fear is really the impetus for empowerment, because as you walk through it and you're able to identify how much of that fear is projected into the future, how much of it is projected into what you don't think you can do or what you don't think you can accomplish. And then you walk through it and you see shades of accomplishment, shades of achievement, shades of empowerment. You get more invested, emotionally excited to be brave in those moments. And that's why I'm being so focused on the moon right now, and focusing in on the idea that, we look at it and we talk about looking at our ascendant, then our sun, and then our moon. That's what most astrologers would say. And yet, as I'm going into my meditations and considering myself an intuitive astrologer, I'm seeing the moon becoming more and more powerful. We are the only planet that experiences eclipses because the moon and the sun are about the same size. That's super powerful. I have my moon in Taurus too, George. So okay, so that's where I want to go with that. Thinking about your emotions and then taking a moment to look a little bit deeper to see if indeed your emotional body is aligned to what you want to experience or aligned to what you think is expected of you. All right, so here we go. Let's go into our readings now. We're going to start with Pisces, as we always do, and then move our way through the zodiac to Aries. I started this eons ago during a Mercury retrograde, and it's sort of stuck. So here we go. All right. And I read Western Tropical. Sorry, I've been meaning to delineate that for you all. Full sign, as taught by Lotta. Hi, Judy. I'm saying hi to everybody. I'm pretty sure I missed somebody, and I apologize for that. The chat's kind of going by. All right. Whoop. Nope, didn't drop anything. All right, here we go. Well, I'll tell you, DJ Dre, I am a Libra sun, and I like balance. And if you think about it, we always start with Aries. Aries always gets to go first. Well, that's not always fair to the signs that are. So this is my way of balancing things out. And Aries gets to practice patience. I'm an Aries rising. All right, here we go. Pisces, our first angel is Re. The second is Layla. The third is Athena. And the final is Azure. Thank you, George. And in some ways it is. It's also what I think of, it represents our ancestors, the 12th house. It represents retreats. It represents a very spiritual dynamic. And I think in some ways it represents the launching point from our last life into this life, which is why it's behind us and what we're not supposed to necessarily see, so we can be fresh moving forward. All right, Pisces. Ray is being joined by the Fear card. Layla's being joined by the Movement card. Athena's being joined by the Cow. And Azure's being joined by the Forgiveness card. I want to offer this because, there's the saying, fear is false evidence appearing real. But in this particular case, I want to sort of, for Pisces, being in the house that's behind me, the house that I don't necessarily see, I want to offer this. I feel like when I look at Ray in the Fear card, it may be something that you're feeling fear, but the fear is not necessarily attached to something that's happening in your everyday life, but rather an opportunity for you to feel the empowerment of your connection with your meditations, with spirit, with allowing yourself to go into retreat, allowing yourself to, you could even get into a bathtub. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, and allow yourself almost to meditate in water. I feel like this is very much not about fear straight up, not about being scared, but almost maybe, with Neptune going retrograde, there could be the potential that Pisces has not felt connected to their team, to their spiritual team, because it is an ebb and a flow. There is times when we get so caught up in the physical experience that it feels as if we're not connected to our team, and we get to quiet the mind. And today is a huge T-square with Saturn, Uranus, and Mars. That's a busy, rebellious energy. And as we move into this new moon, there's other things coming into play, because they're here. When I look at this, I don't want you to think Spirit has ever left you, but rather to allow yourself to go into your connection with Spirit, to determine what fear wants to do for you. What does it want to empower you? Does it want to remind you that you're not in the present moment? I really, really feel like if we paid attention to our fears, almost 99% of the time, we are projecting something into the future. I won't have enough money. Nobody will ever love me. Maybe 1% of the time we're standing on the edge of a cliff and we are literally in physical fear. So as you go into meditation and look and ask Spirit, what in this moment does fear have to remind me of about myself? Because we are powerful co-creators. In our opportunity and our obstacle is another backing up for Pisces to go into meditation, to speak with Spirit, to have a conversation. And part of that conversation is to quiet the mind so that you can see the movement that's being offered to you as a result of examining where your fears are coming from. Because as you lovingly assert yourself, which is what Athena offers, you will know abundance. You will also know the give and take of your connection to Spirit. I've been working for myself for a long time now. And when I first started, I was very concerned about my material security. And now it almost feels as if as I sit and I go into, all right, here's this moment where, do I have enough money, or do I have enough resources, or whatever the fear is that's popping up. As I say to Spirit, I know how our connection works. I go into this unknowing. Look at Ray's eyes are closed. She's surrendering what she knows about the earthly experience to connect even more empowered to what she truly wants. And that true want is not to have a bundle of money to sit on, but to know I can create it at any moment by my willingness to receive Spirit's bounty. And I say that because you don't know, if you ever watch My Lottery Dream Home, people win $1 million a lot. So maybe it's not as hard as we used to think it is, because for Pisces rising, and I almost want to rewrite that. I want to say Pisces moon first, because how are you feeling? Then rising, because that's my perspective into the world, and sun, which is how I project myself. Because Azure is saying your desired outcome is happening in the very near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. As she leaps off, and it almost feels like she gets it. I know how to fly now. And now everything makes sense. This forgiveness card is not about forgiving another human or even yourself, but rather a reconciliation. I am a Taurus moon. Makes me kind of stubborn. And if people don't apologize authentically, I don't believe them. So this to me is where I go from my first position of understanding that fear is working for me. It is actually grooming me and training me how to trust a bigger picture. And that bigger picture is starting to reveal itself. And that's why I think that Uranus and Saturn, and they're being on the tail end of all of that Plutonian Saturn energy in Capricorn, breaking down all those old rules and old versions of Saturn. Saturn rules our father. Does our father want to beat us up all the time? Yeah, some people's fathers do, but not that's not how we think about it. So anyway, all right, let's go on to our Aquarius. Aquarius. I remember being a little girl when the song Age of Aquarius came out by the Fifth Dimension. And I really wonder, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will rule the stars. I think that's so interesting. I wonder if that's actually true astrologically, because I would think Jupiter might expand Mars into a scary place. But anyway, I don't know. All right, here we go. Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Got a little cheeky there. Sorry. I know I almost started to sing, Shelley, but I decided I wouldn't do that. I'm lucky my neighbor upstairs, this guy, that new guy that moved in isn't here a lot. And I sometimes feel much freer to sing out loud. All right, here we go. Hi, Brandon. It's great to see you. All right. Aquarius, our first angel is Astera. Flew right out. Then we have Opal, Isaiah, and Omega. Oh, did I say hi to Welsh Roses? I hope I did. Welcome, welcome. Mr. Reborn, welcome. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's so, I love that support. All right, here we go. Oh, yes, absolutely, Kan-Chan. When Jupiter is anywhere near your natal Venus, oh, yeah, yummy things happen. You could get very rich at the same time. Okay, here we go. Astera is being joined for our Aquarius, and we're going to go Aquarius moon, rising, sun, and stelliums. Astera is being joined by the Fear card. That's number 2. That's 2 for 2. Opal is being joined by the Transformational Death card. Isaiah is being joined by the Swan. And Omega is being joined by the Cow. So much going on with us. And I want to say this because I feel like those of us that look to the stars as a guide are very fortunate to have that support and that openness, because Astera says, as you reach to the stars for your dreams and desires, you will see, Aquarius, how your fears are working for you. Of all the signs, I think in some respects, even over Aries, I'll say, I think that Aquarius can be quite fearless, going out and exploring and adventuring into space, talk about the unknown. And I feel like this week with the new moon in Cancer, there is a part of Aquarius that will learn that your fears here are actually not, they're not, how do I want to put it? Because I feel like the fear comes not in a way that I don't believe the stars are supporting me, but I actually know they are supporting me, because, and I'll go back to the second and third, because in this final position, we have the Cow, which is abundance, nurturing, and receiving. And then we have Omega, the angel of victory. So this is what I want to say. The thing about fear is it feels like it starts to become a process for Aquarius, almost as if Aquarius, having Saturn and Uranus being your ruler and having all this action going on, you become to look at it like a science, like you're investigating and exploring your fears. And are they real? What is their purpose? How do they work? And now I feel like it's giving you this opportunity to move into a more intuitive place. This more, you're transforming, because we've got Isaiah and the Swan. The Swan is the death of the duckling and the transformation into the Swan, and all about this bigger connection. And Opal represents God and the angels watching over us. And I feel like this is extremely important, because if we look at this, there's so much love. We see Isaiah cradling this pregnant woman, offering a rebirth. We see the children here. It's almost like the opportunity is for the children to come into this world, but we've got to allow for the death of the old in order for this to come in. And all of it has to do with Aquarius being empowered to be a creator, to be the real true like astronaut, to go where no man has gone before. Because what I believe is truly happening is the victory of you knowing that this universe has got certain laws in it. And that when you align to those laws, when you align to the idea that we started this broadcast talking about our emotional body, you cannot, if you feel like crap, You cannot manifest with any solid foundation that you can't manifest abundance when you live in constant fear of no money. So this is what I'm trying to say. As you work in coordination with the laws of the universe, knowing that your thoughts create things and your emotional body is the impetus for your thoughts, then there's this gentility that goes on as you align your thoughts and you work with spirit to help you align those thoughts. Because that's where I was going with Saturn. Saturn is sort of asking you, as the co-ruler of the 11th house of hopes and fears, how much bravery and tenacity do you have to put yourself in your future? Because that's what it's futuristic, Aquarius. So that's what I'm trying to say. You have victory here because you will no longer hate your fears. You won't want them to run up against you, but you'll understand them and you'll be less rigid when they come through. I hope that made sense. All right, let's go on to Capricorn. Okay. Got some capitalizations going on here. Welsh Roses, what's going on? They want to end all farms and ranches and rural life in the U.S. Not a world we should agree with. Fight it. Fight is a resistant energy, Welsh Roses. So I want to offer it this way. Rather than fighting what you see as something that is oppressive, asking spirit to, or thanking spirit for bringing the wisdom of why we're walking through that challenge, okay? Or why the farmers are walking through that challenge. We must, I want to say this, defend is again a resistant energy because it assumes that there is, that there's a right and a wrong, I guess. So what I want to say is that as we call forth the idea that however man is farming is good for not just the plants, the animals, the earth, starting to look at a bigger picture of things. Because what we do is we inadvertently go into this circle of right and wrong. So because different cultures perceive things differently, and what is right in one place in the world is not right in another. And I don't think that spirit really judges one side over the other as much as opportunities for experiences, because what spirit knows is that we never truly die. No plant really ever dies, no animal ever really dies, no human really ever dies, and God only knows what else is out there in the world. So what I'm trying to say is that as you focus in on the highest vibration, the win-win for everyone, and understanding that maybe we've taken for granted our farms and ranches in this century where we didn't in previous centuries. And so now this gives us an opportunity to re-engage in a place of more reverence. That's why. All right, here we go. On to our Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Whoop. All right. Our first angel is Adriana. The second is Layla. The third is Daniel, and the final is Desiree. This is tropical whole sign Western. Edgaris. I hope I said that correctly. Here we go. Thank you, Welsh Roses. All right. All right, Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And I actually say that so often that it just rolls off my mouth. But today I'm really looking at the moon and then the rising. All right, Capricorn, Adriana and the forgiveness card have joined each other in the foundational position. Layla and the Baird is in the opportunity or the obstacle. Daniel and the joy card are in the angel's advice. And Desiree and the Earth Fairy are in the final position. Okay, so Capricorn, as I look at Adriana saying she's leading you to the answers to your prayers, to your dreams and your desires, and I see the forgiveness card, I always see this as a reconciliation. And when I say it, it's not about reconciling with another human being as much as I start to understand a certain unpleasant experience or challenging experience has actually made sense to me and become a tool for my empowerment, a tool for my manifestation. And Adriana says that she is leading me to this reconciliation. It isn't here yet because I have to be willing to really look into my history. That's what the Baird talks about. My storytelling about where I've been. And Layla talks about your intentions and your desires. And if we think about Capricorn in its most challenging dynamic, this could be where I'm stuck in my story. I'm stuck in what has happened to me because I've experienced it. And experience teaches. Words really don't teach. So now this is about saying to Spirit, I as a Capricorn am willing and able to look at my story, but thank you for giving me new experiences to anchor that in, because I'm a Capricorn and I'm earthbound and I need that in order for me to truly feel strong and be able to anchor myself into this earthly experience. Because Daniel is another angel of history, but this is my intimate history now. This is the angel of marriage, and there's the joy card. And this is in the angel's advice. And I want to offer it this way because very much Daniel could be telling Capricorn, this to me right now feels like that song, Bless the Broken Road by Rascal Flatts. Because Daniel talks about my history and not bringing my history into my present. And here's the joy card, which Saturn in its challenging vibration has trouble experiencing joy. But think about the tenacity that Saturn asks us to have. And what if that tenacity in the angel's advice is about being more joyful and how much time you spend in your story versus where you want to be? Because Layla's about intention and desire, and the Baird is about where I've been. So in the final position is Desiree saying that conditions aren't favorable, and there's the Earth Fairy out. Can we just say this is like Saturn right now, and this is like Uranus? And I feel very much that it for Capricorn at this moment, there's almost like, are you willing to be more emotive? Are you willing to step out of the expectations of others? Are you, and when I say emotive, I don't necessarily think it's about getting angry. It's about, do your feelings matter? Is what you want. I'm getting warm, so I'm gonna take off my sweater. I want to say I recently spoke to someone who's an Aries moon and a Capricorn sun, and they square each other. And obviously, when you look at that, it doesn't matter the houses. And the Aries was very, very muted in this person, and the fear. I mean, this person had accumulated months and months of vacation time and was afraid to take it. So this is kind of where I'm going with Capricorn. You will be so much better at your own life and what you do in the way of service to others when you start to think that your emotional body matters. And it matters in a way that isn't selfish. It will make sense to you, because it will literally give you a new ground to walk on. And so this year, as you walk through Capricorn, walk through this square with Uranus, constantly asking you to rewrite things, liberate yourself. And if not, you feel a little pissed off about it, it's all working for you. So this new moon in Cancer, I think for Capricorn, is going to emotionally really kind of push on you to say, what do I feel? How do I describe, assess, and assign my value? And does any of it have to do with what I want? Because you may find out that it has been really about what others want and expect of you or think would be good for you. And that's a big fog that Neptune and Mercury are going to remove in their square. Okay, let's go on to our Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh my God. Oh my God. Small wildflowers, 350 hours of vacation time accumulated. You are the epitome of what I just said. Take some vacation time, people. Jeez Louise. That's cuckoo crazy. Although I got to admit, I have a little trouble taking a day off as well. 6 weeks? Mr. Reborn. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys. I think I want to throw this out to you. And Juan, you too, probably, right? Oh my gosh. What if you actually taking 2 weeks of that millions of hours you have is actually not about your own personal vacation, but the ripple effect you're going to send out into your universe? Shifting things. Small wildflowers, being on vacation because you get Monday off is not a vacation. Are you really on vacation, or are you like mowing the lawn and cleaning the house and where's the fun? Fun is important. It's why the sun rules Leo and why it rules the whole zodiac. Well, Juan, that doesn't count then. You took your vacation time to have surgery. Oh boy, we have to send some love. Juan doesn't need a lot of love, but I want to send a lot of love and appreciation to both Juan and Small Wildflowers. Oh my gosh, who has 210 hours? Rock Shaman. Okay, all you guys, I just want to offer this. I feel like as instruments to the universe, it is your opportunity to enjoy your vacation time a little bit. So you send a ripple effect out to the world and the universe at large that playtime in balance with work time is really the most beneficial and potent way to manifest. All right. Here we go. Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Athena. The second is Aurora. The third is Adriana. And the final is Mystique. Thank you, Georgina. Sending lots of love to you too. Here we go. Sagittarius. Joining Athena is the deer. Joining Aurora is the birth and rebirth card. Joining Adriana is the king. And joining Mystique is the spider. Athena talks about lovingly asserting yourself. And the deer, I'm not thinking about fear at all. I'm thinking really it's more about this gentleness and diplomacy. It's about, knowing that if you assert yourself, it's not necessarily something that's distasteful or aggressive, but rather a necessary thing in order to, I almost feel like it's a healthy boundaries thing in some respects. Maybe with Sagittarius, you're going through an issue or something because you're a mutable sign. Mutable people, I'm not very mutable, by the way, but mutable people tend to sometimes give their power away inadvertently. So I want to offer it this way: as you gently assert yourself, first in your own heart, then in your mind, and then maybe out into the real world, because I think you're going to find yourself in a position where you've truly inspired others. This is Aurora in your opportunity or obstacle, saying you're flying high right now, which may threaten others, may initially piss them off, but they will soon be inspired and there will be a new opportunity coming to you. And it's time for this new opportunity, Sagittarius. It's time for you to allow for the recognition of self, the evolution of self, and now experiencing that evolution in a more material way. Because here in the angel's advice is the king. And I don't necessarily want to make this about male energy, but I do think it's about holding a position of authority within your own life. I think it's a just time for you to understand that the angels have been leading you. Adriana says, I'm leading you to the answers to your prayers through your dreams and your intuitions. And now is the just and fair time for you to start to recognize that, to start to give life to the rebirth. And I want to offer it this way because Giving life to the rebirth is almost about not actually trying to make the rebirth happen, but by receiving it. So you gently say, and this is what I do, okay? When I want clients, when I want people to call me and book, I don't go to my computer and send out a promotion. No, I sit in meditation and I say to Spirit, I am open to receiving anyone and everyone who will best be served by my gifts and my talents. That's lovingly asserting yourself. That, Sagittarius, is allowing the Jupiter energy to expand within your life and to know that it is just and fair for you to own this period of time, this chapter, that you have become an authority at this point, because Mystique is telling you to keep charging ahead. And here's the network. This is so interesting. It's almost as if I feel like as you lovingly assert yourself with gentleness and diplomacy, you start to take your rightful place in your own world. This network feels so much like Aquarius energy, 11th house to me on the internet or through social media or on Facebook. And Mystique is always about a process of coming out of the dark and into the light. So this coming out of the dark would be not knowing how powerful you are, not knowing how powerful of a creator you are, and being gentle and diplomatic as you assert yourself to yourself. And then that ventures out into the real world. Okay, let's go on to Scorpio. Let's see how everybody is. All right. Welcome, Lucy Rose. You're kind of right in the middle. I'm just heading on to Scorpio, heading towards Aries. If you are unfamiliar with my show, I go backwards. I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries. And we are in Scorpio right now. And we're focusing in on our moon first today. We have our new moon in Cancer asking us, how do we nurture ourselves? How much do we allow our intuition to lead the way? How are we allowing our home life and our history within our intimate family anchor us into where we are? Or are we allowing for our growth? That's kind of the theme today. All right. And I'm just going to say it, I'm kind of that gal. You get it? I'll take them anytime. All right, cool. Post it up. Here we go. Not cool that you're confused, but cool that you're here. Sorry, and we're on Scorpio. And I wonder if your Scorpio moon has got you confused, what might you be blocking in the way of allowing Pluto, your ruling planet, to transform your emotions, to trust your intuition more than you are right now? Thank you, my dear Lucy Rose. I appreciate that. Love the thumbs up. Here we go. Exactly. Family lineage directly affects how we feel about ourselves. Really does. All right. Which is what Venus represents, which is what's going on when I talked about all that in the beginning. All right, Scorpio. Our first angel is Archangel Raphael. The second is Daniel, the angel of marriage. Then we have Athena and Adriana. So interesting. You see me here, I shuffle, and then the same energies come out because we're all one. My grandmother was a Scorpio as well, really into astrology. Back in the day when you had to actually calculate it. Oy, I can't even imagine having to do that all. Take forever to do a chart. Okay. Scorpio, Archangel Raphael is being joined by the water fairy. Oh, I love that. Daniel's being joined by the movement card. Athena's being joined by the burden card. And Adriana's being joined by the fear card. All right, here we go. Yeah, the fixed T-square. It can be a little bit challenging. I'm not going to say it isn't, but at the same time, it is really giving you an opportunity, Scorpio, to have an illumination about your own balancing of your emotions. We started talking about how the moon really manifests. The moon, if you feel terrible, not just physically terrible, but if you feel emotionally terrible, it is very hard to go in and create abundance. You can create a certain amount of abundance, but long term, you'll burn out. So Scorpio, I think you're having an illumination about how important it is to not only trust your emotions, but to trust the deeper intuitions that you represent, the deeper inner knowing that you represent. Because in the opportunity or obstacle is Daniel, the angel of marriage, and the movement card. And right now, I don't necessarily want to make this about relationship specific, but in general, I feel like you're going to move past a story that's been told about you. And I want to offer it this way because sometimes Scorpio sees things that people are like, how do you know that? You know, there's no proof of that. You don't know that for sure. Oh, I just heard everybody, you know, I have Neptune and Mercury in 8th house, and people tell me all the time, you don't know. You don't know. I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I do know. I can feel it. And they're like, no, you don't. Scorpio, you're not going to listen to people anymore because you're going to start to trust yourself. No longer are you going to take on the burden of not asserting yourself towards what you already know at a deep level. Okay? Because what I think is Adriana is leading you away from fear. You know, if you think about it, Scorpio might be the most comfortable sign to be walking around in a dark alley because they're, you know, it represents everything that's unseen. It represents, you know, plumbing, the anus, sex that happens behind closed doors, whether that's in balance or not. So what I think is that for this particular week, we're going to see Archangel Raphael offering us an epiphany about our intuitions that really start to make fear work for us rather than working against us. When I go in and I ask Spirit, you know, like, can we feel empowerment without being scared? You know, is there any way for that to happen? And Spirit says, there's no point in incarnating because you already know that when you're out of body. So literally, we come through the physical experience, not to torture ourselves, but to feel in a tangible way this concept that we have of what we can create in the out-of-body experience. So I think this week that Scorpio is going to be deeply empowered by their own intuitions. I think that this new moon is going to make you sort of balance out the darkness that may tank you, but rather start to illuminate you. There's a deeper inner knowing. And also I want to offer it this way. There may be the potential that Scorpio, I kind of want to put it this way. There may be some sort of illumination about relationships, and it may be, you know, it could fall on either side of the fence that you very much would like one, or maybe you very much do not want one. I don't know. I kind of went there because oftentimes I think that, you know, when people are in the marrying stages or in that chapter of life, you know, more often than not, you'll see a woman go, we've been together for this amount of time and I'm this old and my eggs are at this stage, and they're just looking at the clock. And I feel like maybe Scorpio at this point doesn't care about a clock anymore. It just wants the depth of the relationship, or the savoriness, or the realness, or the Kama Sutra part of it, the real exchange of Kundalini energy. All right. Hope that made sense. Let's go on to our Libras. Kelly, welcome, and I'm glad you got goosebumps. That's Spirit acknowledging something for you. All right, here we go. Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. If anybody would like to book a personal reading, you're welcome to go to Lada's website. My link is in the information below, and you can book a reading. Okay, here we go. Whoop. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. My Yorkie hair. That's, Brandon, it's great that you bring that up, because I also want to say this. When you look to your moon, or you look to your, my rising sign doesn't make any aspects to anything. It has nothing obvious. It's all kind of by itself. But my moon has 2 trines attached to it, 2 grand trines. And so I always look, and an opposition, as I said earlier, to the 8th house. So I always nowadays think about, it's not just the moon, but it's what it's triggering as well. Okay, here we go. Libra, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Stellium is 4 or more planets in one house or sign. Sometimes people say 3. All right, we have Caressa in the foundational position. We have Merlina in the opportunity or the obstacle. We have Xana in the angel's advice, and we have Rosetta in the final position. Sorry. Thank you, Kelly. All right. Libra, joining Caressa is the fear card. Is this crazy how this is coming up over and over again? Merlina is being joined by the novice. Xana is being joined by the high priestess. And Rosetta is being joined by the water fairy. Okay, I mean, I don't know, because the information comes and goes, but I'm really feeling this Cancerian new moon is asking us to come from a much more intuitive place. And I want to offer this when I say intuitive. Intuition is not always about predicting the future, because people really can't predict the future. I don't care what anybody says. They can have psychics argue with me, but what we see is momentum. We see your thoughts going around in a circle and how much momentum you have created to draw in that manifestation. That's why I think the fear card is coming up, because fear is not necessarily false evidence always appearing real, but it is on some level time for the human to understand that fear is not something to be rejected. It's not something to be repelled against, but rather queried. Asking questions, what does fear have to teach me? Because most of the time, what it has to teach you is you're more powerful than that fear is. And I say that because for our Libras, there's fear, and here's the end of a life cycle with more happiness awaiting me. Caressa says that as you go through this time, and if you think about it, strong Libra energy would make you very disheartened during this time of such disruption, of such disconnection between the ones that we love, and this journey we've walked through. And it seems like once we conquer one thing, there's another something behind it. I mean, with this virus, we've already seen multiple, offshoots of it, for lack of a better term. But what I want to say more than anything is for my Libras to sort of sit back, and rather than feeling like fear is here to overwhelm me, to allow spirit to comfort me as I understand that information is coming forth that will allow me to start a new beginning. And the new beginning is going to be based on things that are more high vibrational. I want to say it this way because Venus is in the mix this week, and Venus is having an opposition with Saturn, and Venus rules Libra. So this is kind of an opportunity for you to rewrite a new beginning by paying attention to how you nurture your own vision of what you want for your life, your own heart, your own self. Being a sign of partnership, sometimes we defer. If we make the partner happy, we make us happy. If my wife ain't happy, nobody's happy. But that's not necessarily true. Everybody deserves to be happy. So Libra, here is Xana in the angel's advice. It's the angel's advice for taking advantage of this period of confusion and indecision and confusion in the world as these squares are rewriting things, because this is a bigger picture of things. The high priestess is always going to be about an intuitive vision of how the world could be, sort of more of a utopian thing at this point. And I want to offer it this way too, because in the final position, we have Rosetta and we have the water fairy. And I feel like this is really trusting a bigger picture of what my intuitive body has to tell me, what my intuition tells me over what my fears tell me. And I want to offer this too, because if you are of childbearing years, male or female Libra, you could be bringing children into this world. And I want to offer it this way, because if there's been a challenge attached to that, think about the dynamics astrologically. And the children that are being born, over these last couple of years have had to deal with these aspects on a lifelong scale, meaning it's the imprint of their birth chart. So children that are being born now will have a challenging aspect between Saturn and Venus. And if they were born a year ago, they had all that nonsense going on in Capricorn. So if indeed you want to bring little ones and you want to be the steward, the guardian, the shepherd for their life path, now is a time to let go of that fear and realize that now may be a more fertile time for them to come through. And for those of you like myself that are not of childbearing years and never wanted to have children, this is about allowing your inner child to dominate just a little bit more than the adult within you. Okay, going on to our Virgos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. I have the strangest, I don't know what happens in my sleep, but I swear I wake up with Disney songs in my head. Now it's that song, Into the Unknown, from Frozen 2. I don't even know it, but I just hear the, oh. Okay. Brandon, when you say you've been in a complicated relationship for over a year, I kind of want to ask you, and I don't remember what your astrological dynamics are, but, is there something about this that you have been ignoring? What is your intuition telling you about that complication? Oops. All right, here we go. Virgo, rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. Any trines are good in a birth chart. Any trines. They're always harmonious aspects. They work for us. They are harmonious and they support us. All right, here we go. Caressa is in for Virgo in the foundational position. We just had that for Libra. Very interesting. Azure is in the opportunity and or the obstacle. Maya is in the angel's advice. And Xana is in the protection. Or I'm sorry, Xana's in the final position. She's the protection angel. All right, communication. Interesting, Brandon. Interesting. So the first thing I thought is, can you be authentic in your communication without triggering the other person? I can't tell you how often, I'll be sitting there doing a reading and a woman will say to a man, tell me your truth. Tell me your truth. I can take it. I can take it. And then they tell the truth and the woman loses her mind. And that can happen in any relationship. It doesn't have to be man and woman. But I really believe that we have to be more authentic with our reception. I believe all of this, how do we nurture ourselves? This new moon in Cancer is asking us. And are we nurturing ourselves on something that's based on shaky ground? Like if I don't really pay attention to it, it'll work itself out. So I don't know why I want to say it that way. I just do. Okay. So Caressa, here is the novice joining Caressa for Virgo. Azure is being joined by the restriction card. Maya's being joined by the High Priestess. And Xana's being joined by the Fire Fairy. All right. So Caressa talks about being at the end of a life cycle. And then the novice is about new beginnings. And I feel like this is exactly what's going on with Virgo. There's the end of one chapter and the beginning of a new chapter. Now let's take the idea that Mercury and Neptune have been squaring each other. The fourth time this is happening as Mercury comes out of the retrograde is this week. And I really believe that rather than having that be about deceitful information coming up, I think it's the difference between, are you operating from what you know from a spiritual point of view, Neptune, Or are you letting your mind and the outside world, because Mercury represents our everyday activities. It represents the people we run around with. When you go as a mom into the school, there's all these people that are looking at you on how you mother or how, whatever it is. I don't know. Because I want to put it this way. I think for Virgo, you're having an opportunity to rewrite this story and to decide what's important with you. What do you want for you? Because as you're saying, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. And here's the restriction card. And I think that's happening because Maya in the Angel's Advice is about schooling and education, and the High Priestess is about my intuition. So let's take Virgo as one of the most practical signs of the zodiac, one of the most dependable and practical signs, and sometimes a little critical and a little bit poly-perfect. I got to be perfect. No, this is a fabulously flawed experience. And I think that's what you're starting to realize, is that in order for things to come the way you want them, I can't force them. I can't work hard enough to make them happen. I have to stop working so hard and start intuiting and imagining what that looks like when I get there. And that's what I have to learn, because as you walk through this period, Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, you're being protected as these new concepts start to take hold within you. These ideas of it is practical for me to actually look at what I enjoy. It is dependable of me to move towards what brings me joy and happiness and makes, like, it could be a nap. It could be playing in the coloring book all day long. It could be running for 10 miles. I don't really care what. It could be reading a book. It doesn't matter. As you start to give life, that your body, your health, your work ethic will all be improved. These are all sixth house matters when you take care of yourself. And doing that's going to take a moment of really stopping for a second and allowing things to sort of settle down so you can delineate what is most important to you. For a long time, I thought I wanted to be, really like, help other people and work, because I love my spiritual work. But I realized there are certain days I just want to turn my phone off. I don't want to answer emails, and I want to just lose myself in art projects because I enjoy that. That's my moon in Taurus and my sun in Libra. And as I do that, it refuels me and I'm better the next day. It's not wasted time. So Virgo, take care of you. Enjoy you. Let Mercury actually reflect the spiritual dynamic of enjoying your day. Okay, going on to our Leos. All right, here we go for our Leo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Rosetta. The third is Sonia. And the final is Mystique. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the Burden card. Rosetta is being joined by the Goblin. Sonia is being joined by the Truth. And Mystique is being joined by the Choice card. Okay. That's a little interesting here for our Leos. Archangel Gabriel talks about our communications, and then there's the Burden card. And I really kind of want to put it this way, because I don't think this is just communication on the outside. I think this is communication on the inside. I think it's everywhere. I think it's how you think. I think it's how you're, how people are, even information that's coming to you, Leo, feels a little bit like a wet blanket. I want to use that. It's funny here in Laguna, where I live, the fireworks are not going to probably be very good because it's so socked in, you won't be able to see anything. And while that's a little bit disappointing, I feel like for me, I don't really care, but I feel like overall people are tired of being oppressed. They're tired of not being able to run around their everyday life. And for Leo in particular, I feel like the burden is almost like there's some weird duplicity. I can't quite describe it. It almost feels like Leo wants to break out and other people are like, no, I don't know what it is. But here in the opportunity and or the obstacle, I have the ego, and then I have the child card, and this feels like play. And it feels like someone's telling me, no, yes, CJD, Mars and Leo roaring. That's probably what it is. Okay, I forgot about that trine because I talked about it last week. So that might be what's going on here today, is you're just feeling a little pissed off because you want to have some childlike fun. And what you may know as an energetic being is that your vulnerability really comes from your vibration. So if you focus on something negative happening, you can draw that into you. Whereas as you focus on the inspired ideas that come through a higher vibrational thought, because here is Sonia, the angel. This to me is your team, and there's the truth card. And the truth is that we all get to start putting ourselves into a different focus. And I think Leo wants to lead the charge. Leo rules everything fun, our hobbies, children's playtime, acting, creating, romance. And I feel like Leo is ready. And I'm just done being restricted. I'm just done being pulled back. And here's Mystique and the choice card. So this is what I want to say for my Leos. Keep charging ahead. Expect miraculous things to happen. And this time it's because you're choosing a different perspective. You're choosing, you know what? I'm going to make lemonade out of lemons. I'm going to make, can't even think of another thing. But I think it will just let's turn that frown upside down, because I think that this week what you have is an opportunity not to fight the system and not to roar over it, but rather be you through it. That's the way I want to put it. So it's almost like the lion sleeps tonight a little bit, I kind of, rather than roaring, allowing yourself to sort of chillax through it. That's the way I want to put it. And I want to offer this too, because I think as we move into the Leo sun energy, we're going to start to see things lighten up as well. Loose Rose, pick your battles. That's a good one. I like that. But I almost feel like it's an interior battle in your mind about whether or not you should actually take action as a leader and roar out into the world, or whether you're just roaring on the inside. And I feel like allowing yourself a little bit of a break, this just sort of, okay, the rest of the world's mad, so I won't be mad. I don't know why I want to put it that way, but that's what I'm doing. Yes, George, the female lions are the ones that do everything. I laugh at that Red Bull commercial when the lion comes out of the bushes, and there's the two gazelles, and one pulls out a Red Bull and says, "You'll never outrun that lion." And he's like, "I don't have to outrun the lion. I just have to outrun you." I thought to myself, that's a lion, not a lioness. If it was a lioness, you'd be in real trouble. She'd get both of you. All right, here we go. On to our Cancer. This is your moon. This is your opportunity to really use your intuition to start to make that the foundation. Stop being stifled by others. Sierra, happy 4th of July to you. Happy Sunday. All right. Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stellium. Celeste is our first angel. The next is Archangel Uriel. The third is Mystique. And the final is Rosetta. As I'm flipping or shuffling the cards, I can't help but think, emotionally, most of us are so frustrated. I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. And then when we start to feel good, we get scared. Oh my God, I'm feeling good. The other shoe's going to drop. Something bad has to happen. No good deed goes unpunished. I think we need to start to rewrite those old sayings. Oops. Cancer, Celeste is being joined by the Fire Fairy. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Disruption card. Mystique is being joined by the Movement card. And Rosetta is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Okay, I want to say this for my Cancers because this feels very much like it's coming from your emotional body. Again, this is your new moon. We have this new moon offering us opportunities to really look at how we nurture our emotional body, how we nurture ourselves within the physical, the permissions that we give ourselves in the intangible. And I want to say it this way. When I say the intangible, it's like, oh, do you want to go on a girls' weekend? Oh, I can't go on a girls' weekend. My kids got this, my husband got that. I got to clean this. I got to clean that. I got to, take the car in. No. I really think that for my Cancers, it's time to start to shift your mind into a place that starts to open things up. Let the house stay dirty for a minute. Let the husband do what he needs to do, or let the wife do what she needs to do. Because I want to tell you this, I feel like as you step into this energy that makes yourself important, it's a sign of motherhood, Cancer, the sign of nurturing others. And I don't want to say not to nurture others, but as you give to yourself, you're greater to give to others. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle, we have Archangel Uriel, which deals with frustration, anger, and then we have the Disruption card. So there is a very, very good possibility that you're getting to a point where you're feeling overly taxed, overly responsible is a word I want to use. And as you say, you know what, I'm not so sure that if I don't make time for myself, that might not move. Because here's Mystique saying don't take no for an answer. Keep charging ahead. And the movement will come is when you start to realize that if you're sitting in an energy that's overly taking care of others, overly obligated to others' happiness and not your own, you're not serving them at all. Because here is the angel of children, guiding, parenting, and teaching children. And then there's the Lady of the Lake. And I think that this is about taking care of other people and that you're not really taking care of them. You may be getting them fed. You may be making sure they have clean clothes, but are you emotionally so spread thin that everybody's like, ugh, because this is now the courage to realize to take care of your inner child. Your inner child will take care of everybody else better when you acknowledge him or her and when you make them important. And that's what I think is about, this is for this new moon, is the ripple effect of self-nurturing is really the best way to nurture others. And this is not about selfishness. This is not about saying, oh, I'm going to take care of myself, so I'm going to go to the bar Friday night and leave my kids at home with, a pizza being delivered. That's not nurturing. So I kind of want to be clear about that. It's about balance. It's about saying that if I'm overly if I think other people are more important than I think myself is, then I'm actually screwing everybody over. So maybe today, 4th of July, or tomorrow, you just say, it's a day for me. It's a day for me to celebrate me, and the dishes can sit in the sink or the laundry can stay dirty for one more day. There's plenty of clean underwear in the drawer. All right, let's go on to our Geminis. Yes, Shelley, it is kind of a butterfly effect. Really, it is. And I think that as more of us do that, I do think that it has the effect to really reach much further than just our own homes and our own communities, but all over. Well, Stephen, do you need to make the bed or do you want to make the bed? I live alone and I like to make my bed only because when I walk in my room, it looks so pretty. But then I realized I have a Taurus moon and a Libra sun, and I like my room to look pretty. All right, here we go. Hi, Sabrina. Welcome. All right, here we go. Gemini, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Let's pay attention to our moons today, everybody. Our first angel is Bethany. The second is Daniel. The third is Rosetta. And the final is Akasha. Hi, Sabrina. Oh, I said hi to you already. Sorry. Love Awakening. Hello. Welcome. Don't be afraid to hit the like button if you're loving on me. If you're loving on this broadcast, I'll take it. All right. Bethany, for my Geminis, is being joined by the Baird. Daniel is being joined by the Dragon. Rosetta is being joined by the Truth card. And Akasha is being joined by the Bee. Okay, Small. Here's the Baird. I just have to say that, not that I'm calling you out, of course, but I'm just saying, here's the storyteller and here's the taking care of ourselves. Gemini, I call upon you to take care of yourself. I call upon you to look at your story and ask yourself if your story is really reflective of who you are today, because it doesn't matter who you were yesterday. Okay. And I say that because not only does the Baird represent my history, but here's Daniel, the angel of marriage, also representing my history and relationships. And here's the Dragon, the power and strength card, and the coolness of this. I want to offer this. As I look at my Geminis, I kind of think this is about the potentials of relationships and of allowing the commingling and the idea of opening up to a healthy relationship, something that's actually aligned versus what's come before. Because here in the Angel's Advice is Rosetta and the Truth card. And I want to offer it this way because I feel like I'm talking to single Geminis who have been single for a while and maybe sort of thought themselves out of it. You know, you've been mercurial and like, oh, forget about it. My story says, no, it's just too much of a pain in the ass. But the truth is that you want to be in alignment with someone else. You want to be in a mutually nurturing situation where two people swim together. You're the sign of the twins, you know. You're the sign of everyday activity. So what I want to offer you is that as you say, you know what, I'm going to be more gentle in the story I tell myself. Because again, I want to quote Rascal Flatts, "Bless the broken road." Maybe all those crappy relationships or all those broken relationships are just illuminating a more true story. And I don't mean true in the way of true to other people, but true to yourself. Because Akasha is the spiritual teacher, and here's the Bee. The Bee is about victory. It's about good luck. It's about, to me, I feel like we know the ecosystem cannot survive without the bee pollinating all the flowers. So I really want to offer my Geminis an opportunity to start to use the idea that Mercury is now going forward. That's your ruling planet. It will be squaring a retrograde Neptune. And when you look at that, it's the fourth time it's happened. So it's giving us an opportunity to go back and forth and revisit this idea of, am I letting my mind and my everyday events dictate what I think I'm going to experience in this world? Or am I going to elevate it to a more spiritual place of what I've been evolving into as I've been paying attention? I've been aware of my own vibration. And while I may not be the master of that vibration just yet, I am the master of my willingness to be aware. And in doing so, I am becoming more victorious. I'm becoming more intentional. And I'm understanding my challenges in a way that they are meant to empower me. They're meant to illuminate where I've been deceiving myself. Just saying. All right, let's go on to Taurus. Sometimes I feel like I'm standing on a pulpit because I feel so like I might get so impassioned and preachy. Maybe I was a preacher in a past life. Who knows? All right. Taurus, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Taurus, our first angel is Crystal. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Azure. And the final is Mystique. For now, for this broadcast, for those of you asking how this relates to you, I want you to look at your moon. With the moon in Cancer this week, I feel like we want to start to pay attention to our emotional body. And within that emotional body, the moon is going to represent how we process. So while I'm a Taurus moon, I can very easily kind of get a little stuck, to be honest. I don't do a superficial apology very well. I don't do anything superficial very well. So as I look at the dynamics of Taurus, I also know that I am loyal, I am loving, I am dependable in some respects. But then, so I want you to look through your moon's lens. What does your moon want you to remember about yourself? Here we go. Taurus, moon, Taurus, rising, sun, and stelliums. Crystal's being joined by the Goblin. Archangel Uriel's being joined by the Trust card. Azure's being joined by the High Priestess. And Mystique is being joined by the Frog. So the first thing I want to say about my Taurus is that you're a fixed earth sign, okay? So you might be thinking to yourself, I haven't seen it. It ain't happening. I don't believe it. What are you talking about? I'm walking on this earth and I see this table. I see that lamp, but I don't see what I want. And Spirit is saying to you, Taurus, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And the ego is saying, where are you edging out your miracles? Where are you? Look at the ego doesn't even have his eyes open here. He's so busy being like, it's not happening. It's not happening. I've been doing this. I've been doing this. I've been doing this. And not giving any credence to world dynamics, to things outside myself. We are co-creators in this lifetime. We are not 100% creators. And I say that because we're banging around other people with other intentions and wanting other experiences. So it's time for you to start to realize you don't need to be frustrated. That maybe, okay, so let's just put it this way. Let's say Tauruses want to be in a relationship. I'm ready for love. I'm ready to find my person and move the story forward. And you're just frustrated as all get up. That focus on the frustration is blocking the truth. This is a trust card. And the trust card is that maybe that person that you've been waiting for has had to go on a road of their own discovery so that when they finally meet you, they are more appreciative of what you bring to the table. Because as you're saying, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. And there's the High Priestess. This is an intuition. This is a knowing. So Taurus, this is time to take your fixed energy and make it work for you. And be like, I want what I want, and I'm taking no prisoners. And I'm not going to let frustration get in my way. Rather, I'm not trusting anybody else but my own intention. What I put, there's times in my life when I ask myself, did I, on a contractual level, on a soul's level, did I contract to have an experience so unpleasant and so soul ripping that I can't make what I want happen? And I say no. And I say no because there's a deeper knowing inside of me that my challenges have been there to empower me, not to pull me under. And I think that's where it's time for our Tauruses to keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions, because the frog not only represents the balancing of emotional challenges and reactions to things, but also the frog represents good luck. You go into almost any Asian restaurant and you'll find a frog with a coin in its mouth offering abundance. But that abundance is your willingness to see where your ego is edging out your miracles. Because your ego is saying, it's not happening now. I don't see anything. Where's the money in the bank? Where's the flowers from the boyfriend? Where's the love from the girlfriend? Where is all of that? So I want to say, you know what? As a Taurus moon, I'm going to start to think maybe this whole dynamic has been aligned to such a bigger picture. Maybe I've waited all this time because it isn't just about me finding love, but what the example of my love sets out into the ripple effect of the universe. Personally, Teri has two grand trines on her moon. One of them involves Saturn, and the other, well, they both involve Saturn and my moon, and then Pluto and Venus in the 6th house. They're all in earth signs. What if my big tail wag, what I feel has been coming intuitively my whole life, has never been about the timing of it, but the vibrational alignment of it. And now I understand that. So now am I vibrationally aligned. And now I understand the journey of the other person joining me. All right, Godspeed, I bet that's what that is. Your birthday's on the new moon. So enjoy that. Happy birthday. All right, let's go on to our final sign, Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Brandon, that 29 degree and 29 minutes in Saturn is really asking you to work hard at allowing your intuition and the truth of who you are. In Aries, truth, 29th degree. That's why I don't like to push the degrees into the next sign, because I think those last few degrees and those first few degrees have a whole lot of importance. All right, Aries, here we go. First angel is Archangel Raphael. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Chantal, and the final is Astera. Oh my goodness, lots and lots of 29 degrees. That's a lot of getting out there and trusting and inner knowing. And 29 degrees Leo is Regulus, you guys, so pay attention to that. That's the royal star of kings and witches. Good night, Ken-chan. Sweet dreams. All right, here we go. Archangel Raphael Aries is being joined by the hawk. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the joy card. Chantal is being joined by the butterfly. And Astera is being joined by the protection card. You know, Sage, no, don't like when I do that. Oh. Yes, 29 degrees of Leo is a very significant degree. Very, very significant. You've been a king or a queen. Very important to pay attention. Oh my God, Lucy Rose, you like Jackie Kennedy. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Aries. Archangel Raphael is offering an epiphany as you bring yourself up and you rise above a situation. And I want to offer it this way. Aries is the asserter, the spiritual warrior, the one who's willing to go into battle in order to bring justice. And I think oftentimes Aries is misconstrued as bullish in some ways, as aggressive, as angry. And I don't think that's necessarily true. So right now it's time for, if we're talking about this whole broadcast being, what's my emotional body telling me? There's more to the story, Aries. There's way more to the story. You're the truth seeker. You're the pioneer. You represent courage and bravery. And you know, you got to have a little piss and vinegar underneath it all to have that courage and bravery. So now it's time to celebrate yourself rather than being frustrated and angry. It's time to say, you know what? I think I like being an Aries. I think I like being an Aries. Aries rising. You know, there's a lot of people that will say, oh, you're so hostile. I've had people tell me that. I'm only hostile when someone's trying to shove something down my throat that is distasteful to me. So Aries, start to trust yourself a little bit more. Your joy matters. And the idea that you're willing to stand up for it is okay. It sets a wonderful example. And I want to offer it this way, because I think maybe Aries might even think that you're so independent and so, you know, Aries is very much about being sort of okay, being by yourself, okay, you know, pioneering out there. But I think there's a blossoming in love being offered to you. I think there's an opportunity for Aries to see the beauty of the wisdom of the darkness of this journey of being labeled one thing and then rising like the phoenix into something else. Because here's a star saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires, and there's the protection card. I think that there is an opportunity as we walk through this. You know, Mars rules Aries, and Mars is in this T-square between Saturn and Uranus. It's today, technically, and, you know, we know that Saturn and Uranus don't really move very fast, and they're going to be squaring each other throughout the whole year, respectively. Mars is going to take a few days to move off this. So where is Aries willing to be the pioneer in your own emotional body to really rise above who you are and to realize that you're not fighting for the sake of fighting. You're not angry for the sake of being angry. What you're doing is standing your ground for what brings you joy. And you're not going to take any prisoners. And Spirit is saying you will find a mate. Spirit is saying, don't listen to anybody else. Don't even listen to your own. You know, I've got some challenging dynamics in my partnership sector where I have I've literally seen astrologers look at it and I've intuited that they were like, oh, this woman's never going to get married. She's way too picky. She's way too this. She's way too that. And I don't say anything, but I know that that's not true. I know that everything that's happened up until now is not because I couldn't have found a partner, but I chose not to have a partner because I wanted an elevated experience. So this is what I'm saying for you, Aries. You want an elevated experience, and it's being protected because part of your pioneering spirit, your courage, your bravery is to hold fast for what it is you truly want versus acquiescing and giving into the pack mentality that says less is okay. That's too much. Only special people get that. Oh, that's rare. It's only rare because most people don't energetically align to it. So those that are standing in abundance, those that are standing in balanced love, those that are standing and feeling like they're thriving on this planet have aligned to it. Maria, if you're feeling exhausted, honor that exhaustion because you will be able to go back into your double Aries energy with much more razor focus. And when you do that, you'll realize that Aries doesn't have to push that hard. Part of the pioneering experience is to stop and observe this new landscape that you're walking through so you can make a more educated. That's not the right word I want to use. As you observe this new landscape, as you're pioneering through new territory, rather than just bursting through, allowing that exhaustion to calm you down so that you can see a path that feels more authentic and clear. I think that this particular new moon for Aries is really offering in a more emotional experience. Informed decision. Thank you very much, my green dash. Don't know what to call you, green dash. Green circle with a white dash. because I think that that's really the truth. I think Aries is often mislabeled. I think that when an Aries gets really cranky, it's not just for the sake of getting cranky, but rather because there's a certain truth that is being either dismissed or not acknowledged or asked to being given up for a greater good that really isn't the greater good. Meaning, don't want what you want because that's not how we do it. You got to do it the hard way in order to be successful. And I think Aries is saying no more. All right. So that's it for this week. This is me, Teri Hunter, here on Lada's channel every Sunday morning with the angels. Advice for traversing the transits. Green Dash made me laugh. I'm sorry, I don't know what to call that person. I'm pretty sure it feels like a female energy to me, but I could be wrong. So I'll call her Dash Dash. Dash Dash. That seems kind of arrogant, doesn't it? Dash Dash. All right. Okay, guys, love you all so much. And when I say that, I really, really mean it. I am going to potentially take off the 25th, but that's in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about that. Oh, thank you, Dash Dash. But we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, I'll be here next week. And I'm really looking forward to next Sunday. I have to say it's going to be my first venture out into a game day that we started before COVID locked us all in. So I'm looking forward to that. So sending lots of love to you. Thank you so much for the likes, for your participation today, for being present and accounted for on this planet. And may this new moon bring your heart's desires to fruition. Love, guys. Peace out.